Graveyard Shift, the town of Stillwater, Pennsylvania, was the kind of place where the nights felt heavier than they should. Streetlights hummed against a constant fog that rolled down from the hills, and most stores closed by 9. After that, the only signs of life were the occasional headlights cutting through the mist, or the low drone of machines from the Stillwater plastics factory. Inside that factory, under the pale wash of fluorescent lights, Jack Turner clocked in for the night shift. He'd been working security there for 6 months now, long enough to know every flickering bulb, every broken vent that made too much noise, every hallway where the sound seemed to echo wrong. It wasn't glamorous. Work, 12 hours alone, walking the same routes, logging the same checkpoints on a beat-up tablet that froze every other hour. But it was steady pay, and steady was all Jack wanted these days. He zipped up his navy jacket, the one with Turner Security, stitched crookedly over the chest, and gave a quick glance at the wall clock, 11:54 p.m. Another night in paradise, he muttered. Jack was 38, divorced, and still paying off the mortgage on a house he no longer lived in. His daughter, Ellie, was 12. He saw her every other weekend, when his ex, Melissa, didn't forget their agreement. Tonight, the overtime was supposed to help cover Ellie's new bike, but in the back of Jack's mind, he was already regretting saying yes to another graveyard shift alone. He grabbed his thermos of coffee, the one thing keeping him sane through the endless hours, and began his first patrol. The Stillwater Plastics. Factory wasn't large. 3 main sections: the warehouse, production floor, and the administration wing. At night, it was a ghost town. The hum of machinery died after 10 p.m., leaving behind only the low buzz of power lines and the occasional drip of condensation from the ceiling pipes. Jack's boots echoed down the long concrete corridor. He passed rows of stacked plastic crates and empty pallets that looked like shadows in the dim light. His flashlight beam swept lazily across the walls. He tapped his tablet against the first checkpoint. Beep. He logged the time. 12:07 a.m. by 1 a.m. The coffee was already lukewarm, and Jack found himself in the security office, a small glass-walled room at the far end of the factory. It had 2 monitors showing grainy CCTV feeds. Half the cameras didn't work. The chair squeaked when he sat down. He flipped through an old paperback crime novel, but his focus kept drifting. He rubbed his eyes. Stay awake, Turner. The job was boring. Most nights were. But sometimes boredom was good. Better than trouble. He took a sip of coffee, turned his head toward the monitors, and froze. Camera 12. Warehouse South Entrance. Someone was moving. A faint figure walked into the edge of the camera frame. Blurred, almost blending with the dark. Jack leaned forward. It wasn't a worker. Nobody was supposed to be here after 10. He adjusted the brightness knob. The figure paused near one of the steel doors, head tilted slightly, like they were listening for something. Then as quickly as it appeared, it moved out of view. Jack's heart rate kicked up. Probably a raccoon, he muttered, though his gut didn't buy it. The figure had walked upright. He grabbed his flashlight and radio. "Control, this is Turner. Checking possible movement near South Entrance," he said out of habit. But the radio was dead. The control line had been out for months. Nobody listened on the other end anymore. He sighed. "All right, Jack. You're the control." He stepped out of the office and started toward the south corridor. His boots thudded softly against the floor. The silence pressed on his ears. Halfway there, he noticed something strange. The warehouse door, the one that always creaked, was wide open. Son of a... Jack tightened his grip on the flashlight. He shone it into the dark space beyond. The door, endless rows of shelves, metal racks, and pale light spilling in from a single high window. "Hello?" he called. His voice bounced off the steel beams. "This is private property." No response. He stepped inside. The air felt colder here. Somewhere deep in the warehouse, something clattered, like a metal rod hitting concrete. Jack's pulse jumped. "Hey, I know someone's in here." He walked deeper, the light cutting through dust floating in the air. The sound came again, softer this time, followed by the faint drag of something scraping. He turned the corner between two shelves and nearly tripped. A plastic mannequin head lay on the floor staring up at him. Its eyes were gouged out. It wasn't there during his last patrol. What the hell? He knelt to look closer, when a voice broke the silence. "Don't shine." "That in my face." Jack jerked up. The flashlight beam shot toward the sound. "Nothing. Who's there?" His voice cracked slightly. The voice came again, closer this time. "You're not supposed to be here tonight." Jack's breath caught. "Who said that?" "No. Answer." He turned the flashlight toward the far end of the aisle and caught a glimpse of someone's shoulder disappearing behind a row of boxes. "Hey." He ran after them, his boots pounding the floor. He rounded the corner. Empty. The door at the far wall was shut tight. Jack's hands were trembling. He swallowed hard and forced himself to breathe. Okay, someone's screwing around. Probably one of the temp workers. He backed away slowly, flashlight sweeping every corner. That's when he noticed it. Faint writing on the wall beside the loading dock, in black marker. "I can't sleep when you're watching me." He froze. The handwriting was shaky, almost childlike. He'd never seen it before. Back in the security office, Jack replayed the footage. But camera 12 was now static. Every other feed was blank. He tapped the monitor. The screen flickered, glitched, and for half a second he thought he saw a face, pale, smiling, right in front of the lens. Then it cut to black. Jack's hands were slick with sweat. He unplugged the system, then plugged it back in. Nothing. His phone buzzed suddenly, making him jump. It was a message from Tom Riker, the day supervisor. "You still in tonight, man? Got reports someone broke into the south lot last week. Keep an eye." Jack typed back. Already on it. Probably just a prank. Tom didn't reply. By 2:45 a.m., Jack was pacing. He couldn't shake the feeling he wasn't alone. Every noise sounded too close, too deliberate. Then, a loud clang from the production floor. He flinched. That wasn't the building settling. That was metal on metal. He rushed down the corridor, flashlight jerking with every step. The production hall stretched out before him, filled with rows of idle machines and conveyor belts. In the middle of the room, a maintenance door stood ajar. "The one leading to the sub-level boiler room." "Christ," Jack whispered. "That door's supposed to stay locked." He pushed it open and started down the narrow staircase. The smell hit him, oil, rust, and something faintly sour. The light down there was dim and yellow, flickering like a dying candle. At the bottom, near the old boilers, someone had set up a small pile of personal junk. A blanket, a few empty cans, a lighter, and an old photo taped to the wall. Jack stepped closer. The photo showed 3 people, 2 men and a woman, standing in front of the same factory. One of the men's faces had been scratched out with a knife. Who the hell's been living down here? Behind him, something shifted, a slow scrape of a boot on concrete. He turned sharply. "Hey!" A man stood in the corner, thin, unshaven, dressed in a torn factory uniform that looked 20 years old. His eyes were wild, bloodshot and unblinking. Jack raised his flashlight. "Sir, you can't be here!" The man lunged. Jack fell backward, flashlight clattering to the floor. The man grabbed him by the jacket and slammed him against the wall. "Stop! Stop! Security!" Jack shouted, swinging his elbow. He hit the man in the ribs, enough to break free. He stumbled, grabbed the flashlight, and aimed it straight at the attacker's face. For a split second, their eyes met, and Jack saw something he couldn't process. The man's ID badge, still pinned to his filthy shirt, read, "Eric Danner, Maintenance." Jack froze. He recognized the name. Eric had gone missing 3 years ago. "Eric?" he whispered. The man's face twisted. "You shouldn't have come down here." He lunged again, knocking the flashlight from Jack's hand. They crashed into the boiler. Steam hissed. Jack kicked wildly, trying to push him off. The man's grip was like steel, his breath sour and wet. Jack grabbed a nearby wrench and swung it, once, twice. The man fell backward, hitting the floor hard. Jack scrambled to his feet, chest heaving. He backed toward the stairs, never taking his eyes off the body. But when he reached the first step, Eric's voice rasped behind him. "You'll see them too, once you've stayed long enough." Jack bolted up the stairs. He slammed the door shut and locked it. He was shaking uncontrollably. Jesus Christ, what the hell was that? He called 911 with trembling fingers. "Stillwater Police," a woman's voice answered. "This is Jack Turner, security at Stillwater Plastics. There's someone inside, possibly injured. I think it's the guy who went missing, Eric." Danner. "Sir, slow down. You said injured?" "I hit him. He attacked me. He's in the boiler room. We'll dispatch units to your location. Stay on the line." The line clicked dead. Jack looked at his phone. No signal. He cursed under his breath and ran back toward the security office. Every step echoed like thunder. His own reflection in the glass startled him as he reached the door. He shut himself inside and locked it. His heart wouldn't slow down. He stared at the blank monitors, waiting for flashing red lights, sirens, something. But the factory stayed silent. He checked his watch. 3:22 a.m.
"No police yet," he sat down, head in hands. "Just hold on. They're coming." He reached for his thermos, his mouth dry as sand. When he took a sip, the coffee was ice cold. Then, on the monitor, one camera flickered back to life. Camera 4, main hallway. Jack frowned. The feed was shaky, like the camera was being jostled. Then it steadied and a figure came into view. It was Eric. Walking slowly, dragging one foot, staring directly into the lens. Jack's blood ran cold. That's not possible. He was down there. Eric tilted his head at the camera, his mouth curving into a half smile, then raised a single finger to his lips. Shh. The feed cut out. Jack jumped from the chair, breathing hard. He reached for his radio again, pressing the transmit button even though he knew it wouldn't work. "This is Turner. I need backup right now." "The suspect is still inside." A click answered back. Then, a voice. Low, distorted, almost whispering. Came through the static. "You shouldn't have stayed, Jack." He froze. The voice wasn't Eric's. It wasn't anyone he knew. But it came from his radio. The one that wasn't even connected. Jack dropped it like it burned him. He turned toward the window of the security booth. And there, through the glass, he saw movement. A shadow walking down the corridor toward him. Slow. Deliberate. He reached for his flashlight. Dead. He grabbed the metal baton from his belt instead. The shadow stopped right outside the door. For a long second, nothing happened. Then the handle began to turn. Jack stepped back, baton raised. "Don't you come in here. The door burst open with a metallic screech. Jack swung the baton instinctively. It struck something, solid. A grunt followed, and the figure stumbled backward into the hall. "Get away from me," Jack shouted, his breath ragged. The fluorescent light in the hallway flickered. The figure stepped forward into view. It was Eric. Pale, streaked with grime and blood, eyes hollow, but burning with something feral. His shirt was torn, one sleeve, hanging by threads. He looked like something that had crawled out of the earth. "Eric, just stop, man. You don't want to do this." Jack's voice trembled. He kept the baton raised. Eric tilted his head, breathing heavily. His lips twitched like he wanted to speak, but what came out instead was a half growl, half laugh. Then he stepped closer. Jack swung again. Eric caught the baton mid-swing. For a second they struggled, muscles locked. Then Eric shoved Jack backward into the wall so hard it rattled the window glass. Jack gasped, pain flaring in his shoulder. He tried to fight back, slamming, his boot into Eric's knee. Eric went down for a split second, enough for Jack to grab the desk phone and hurl it at him. The phone smashed into the wall. The receiver bounced off and clattered to the floor. No dial tone. Eric lunged again. Jack grabbed the thermos and swung it like a club. Coffee splashed across both of them. Eric hissed, blinded, and Jack seized the chance, bolting out of the office and sprinting down the corridor. His boots pounded against the concrete as he ran past darkened machinery and silent conveyor belts. He didn't dare look back. He reached the main doors. Pushed, locked. They always locked automatically from the inside after hours. Only opened with the main key card. The card. His chest pocket, gone. It must have fallen during the fight. Damn it, he spat, slamming his fists against the steel door. Behind him, footsteps echoed, slow, uneven, dragging. He turned his head. Eric was coming again, silhouette lurching, in and out of the flickering light. Stay back, Jack shouted, voice cracking. I'll end this. Eric's voice rasped out, dry as broken glass. You don't end it, Jack, it ends you. Jack ran left, through the narrow hallway toward the maintenance dock. His lungs burned. Sweat dripped down his temples. He slammed open the dock door and stepped into the bitter cold air of the loading bay. For a moment, silence. He was outside. He bent down, hands on his knees, trying to catch his breath. Steam from his breath mixed with the night fog. Somewhere far off, a dog barked. He looked around. The yard was empty, stacks of crates casting long shadows under the floodlights. He pulled his phone again. Still no signal. He considered making a run for the front gate, but it was nearly half a mile down the service road, surrounded by chain-link fence. If Eric was behind him, he wouldn't make it far. He turned to look back at the factory door. Nothing. No movement. Jack exhaled, shoulders trembling. He's gone, he muttered. The door creaked open slowly. Eric stood there, his face half lit, blood trickling from a fresh cut on his forehead. He was smiling now, a weird, empty smile that made Jack's stomach twist. Jack backed up toward the edge of the loading dock. Don't do this, Eric. Listen to me. Whatever happened to you, we can get you help, okay? I called the cops and they're coming. Eric stepped closer, one slow step at a time. Cops came before, didn't help. Nobody listened. His voice was cracked, broken, like someone unused to speaking. They said I disappeared. But I never left, Jack. I've been right here. Jack's throat went dry. You've been living here? Eric nodded, eyes wide, almost childlike now. Down below. With them. Jack frowned. With who? Eric didn't answer. He looked past Jack's shoulder at the dark yard beyond the fence. You'll see them too. They don't like the light? Jack didn't look away from him. He edged sideways, trying to keep his distance. His hand brushed against the control panel for the dock door. He pressed the switch. The heavy door began to lower with a deep groan of machinery. Eric's smile faded. He lunged forward. Jack hit the button again. The door froze midway, jerking violently. The motor whined. They both froze for a heartbeat, the sound filling the air. Then, Eric whispered, "You shouldn't have stayed." He jumped forward, tackling Jack again. They crashed onto the cold concrete, Jack's back slamming into a crate. The baton clattered out of reach. Eric clawed at him, grabbing for his throat. Jack pushed back, punching blindly. His fist connected with Eric's jaw once, twice. Blood sprayed across Jack's sleeve. "Let go!" Jack screamed, twisting his body and managing to roll free. He scrambled toward the edge of the dock. His hand closed around a loose crowbar. Leaning against a crate, he swung hard. The blow connected with a sickening thud. Eric went limp, hitting the ground face first. His head struck the concrete with a dull crack. Jack stumbled back, gasping, his heart hammering like a drum. He didn't move for several seconds, just stared at the body. Then slowly, he crouched, trembling hands searching for a pulse. Nothing. His stomach turned. He stumbled backward, nearly tripping over the crate. Oh God, oh God. He looked down at Eric's still form, the blood seeping into the cracks of the floor, and something broke inside him. He'd just killed a man. But before guilt could take hold, another sound cut through the night. Footsteps, Not from Eric, from inside the warehouse. Jack froze, eyes darting to the open door. Faint shadows shifted beyond the flickering light. "Hello?" he called, voice hoarse. "This area's off limits." No reply, only the sound of bare feet on concrete. He stepped back again, clutching the crowbar. His mind raced. Was someone else down there? Had Eric not been alone? The footsteps grew, louder, multiple sets now, moving irregularly, staggering. Like more than one person, or people who hadn't walked properly in years. Then he saw them, figures emerging from the dark, 5, maybe 6, all wearing old factory uniforms. Torn, stained, their faces pale, gaunt, eyes glinting dully in the half-light. Every one of them moved like something broken. Jack's blood ran cold. He recognized one of them, Darla Reeves, a night janitor who'd vanished a year ago. Behind her, Pete Carson, forklift operator, reported missing in 2019. They stopped just at the edge of the light, swaying slightly. "Jesus Christ," Jack whispered. "No way. You're dead." None of them spoke, but they all turned their heads toward him in eerie unison. Jack gripped the crowbar tighter. His knees felt weak. "What the hell happened to you people?" The one in front, Darla, took a step forward. Her mouth opened slowly, jaw cracking as she forced out a sound. "Can't leave. Still working." The others murmured behind her, repeating in broken tones. "Still working. Still working." Jack stumbled backward. He was shaking so badly he could barely hold the crowbar. "Stay back. Don't come near me." They didn't stop. Their eyes seemed empty, but their faces twisted in what looked like pain or hunger. He backed toward the fence, scanning for an escape. The nearest gate was padlocked. The other direction, the loading bay door still half open. He made a split-second decision and sprinted back inside, slamming the control switch again. The heavy door clanged shut behind him, cutting off the night and the fog. The warehouse was dim, filled with echoes. Jack moved through the rows of crates, his breathing ragged. His brain was scrambling to piece it together. Eric, Darla, Pete, all missing workers, all from night shifts. How long had they been living here? How had nobody noticed? He stopped near the boiler room door, the one he'd locked earlier. The padlock now hung broken, twisted open. A faint light pulsed from below. Jack stared. He should have run then, out through the emergency exit, across the yard, into the woods if he had to. But something, curiosity, fear, disbelief, pulled him back down those stairs. The air grew thick, damp, metallic. He descended slowly, crowbar ready. At the bottom, the light came from a bare bulb hanging over the same wall of photographs. Only now, there were dozens more. Faces of workers, taped in uneven rows. Every one of them crossed out except for the last picture on the end. His, Jack's own ID photo pinned neatly, no scratches. Not yet. His hand trembled as he reached for it, when a voice whispered behind him. "Told you, Jack. You stayed too long." He turned. Eric stood there, face bruised, blood pooling from his mouth, eyes wide open. But Eric wasn't moving anymore. Someone else was holding him upright. Another figure standing behind him, hidden in shadow, hands gripping his shoulders like a puppet. As the figure stepped forward, Jack realized, with a chill, that it wasn't one person, it was several. The missing workers, huddled together, supporting Eric's limp body, their faces blank, expressionless. They moved as one, a slow, shuffling advance. Jack raised the crowbar, backing away. "Stay away from me." The crowd kept moving. Darla's cracked voice murmured again, "We all stay, Jack. Company policy." Something broke inside him. Fear turned to pure panic. He swung the crowbar wildly, hitting pipes, boxes, anything in reach. Sparks flew. Steam hissed from a ruptured valve. The air filled with heat and smoke. "Get back," he screamed, coughing. He threw the crowbar, hit the overhead bulb. The light shattered, plunging the basement into darkness. He scrambled up the stairs, slamming the door behind him. The lock barely held. He grabbed a wooden pallet and shoved it against the handle, chest heaving. Below, muffled thuds echoed, fists pounding against the metal door. Then slowly, they stopped. For a full minute, the only sound was his heartbeat pounding in his ears. Jack stumbled down the hall toward the security office. His mind was chaos. None of it made sense. Missing workers alive, the photos, company policy. He just had to hold out until morning, until help came. He slumped into the chair, shaking. On the monitor, one camera flickered back on. The main gate. Red and blue lights flashed faintly in the fog. Police. Jack almost cried. He stood, grabbed his jacket, and started toward the exit. As he reached the main hall, the emergency lights came on, bright red, flashing. A voice crackled over the old intercom. "Attention. Safety protocol breach. Lockdown initiated." He froze. No, no, no. The steel shutters began to close over the exit doors with a heavy clang. He ran, sliding through just before the last shutter sealed shut. Outside, the cold air hit him like salvation. He saw the police cars through the fence, 2 officers waving flashlights. "Hey, over here," he shouted, running toward them. "Help!" They yelled something back, muffled through the fog. He reached the gate, shaking the metal bars. "Open the damn thing, there's people inside there." He stopped. Behind him, from the warehouse windows, silhouettes pressed against the glass. Dozens of them, staring out, motionless. The officers reached the gate. One shouted, "Sir, step back, you're bleeding." Jack looked down. His arm was slashed open, blood dripping from where Eric had grabbed him. "Please," Jack gasped. "You have to go in there. They're still inside. They're still—" The words caught in his throat. He turned back to the windows. All the silhouettes were gone. The officers exchanged wary glances. One radioed something, the other moved to unlock the gate. But before, the latch could open. A low groan echoed from the factory, deep and metallic like the whole building was exhaling. Then, without warning, the lights inside went out. Jack took a step back, his voice breaking. "They're not gone, they're still—" "They never left." The younger officer frowned. "Sir, calm down. We've got medics on the way." A sound interrupted him, a faint scratching from the fence. The officers shone their flashlights down. A set of bloody handprints smeared along the inside of the gate, fresh, still glistening. And right between them, a single word scrawled in the grime. "Still working." Jack stared, numb. His breathing hitched. He turned toward the factory. Again, and there, just beyond the fog, through the open loading dock door, he saw a face staring back. Eric. Smiling. The police found no other bodies. No signs of anyone else in the building. They ruled it an isolated assault. One man hallucinating from exhaustion. The report said Jack Turner resigned from Stillwater Plastics the next morning. But according to the new guard who took his place, the graveyard shift never stayed filled for long. Every few months someone quit, or disappeared, and sometimes on nights when the fog rolls down from the hills, the security cameras flicker, just for a moment, showing shapes moving between the aisles, always working, always waiting.